Okay, I have a question that I'm going to pose because I've been posing it to a lot of friends, which has helped me. It's based off of the story of Orpheus and Eurydice. It's an ancient myth. This is a book of poetry about it. It's not that good, but like there's a lot of media around it. The show Chaos on Netflix, Kaos, follows that story. Hadestown, which is like a Broadway play, is also kind of about it. It is completely about it and stuff like that. So you can find renditions everywhere. But I will first tell you the story and then I'll pose my question. So Orpheus, this is a Greek myth, and Orpheus plays this instrument called the lyre, I think, and he's like the best. He's supposed to be really, really good, like he's gifted by the gods. He's the best who's ever played this instrument. And he falls in love and marries Eurydice, this beautiful young maiden. And very soon after their wedding, Eurydice is walking in some tall grass, like on the mountainside, and a snake bites her ankle, and before she knows it, she kind of falls and she's dead. Now Orpheus finds Eurydice in this grass, like having died recently, and he is inconsolable, and he's just, completely heartbroken at having lost his love so soon after having married her. And so there's few renditions of this, but he plays his music and he's so heartbroken that the earth opens up and shows him the entrance to the underworld where all dead people go. So Orpheus travels to the underworld and he's looking for Eurydice. He doesn't find her, and then he comes across Hades and Persephone, Hades being the king of the underworld and Persephone being his wife, who is the goddess of spring and flowers and all of that stuff. So Orpheus says, he begs to have his wife back, and Hades says, of course, that's impossible. Nobody goes back from the underworld. And then Orpheus, using his talent, plays the most beautiful song, a song so beautiful that it reminds Persephone of spring, and she convinces Hades to give Orpheus a chance. So Hades says, okay, you can walk out of the underworld and Eurydice will follow you, but if you turn around to look at her, to check if she's following you, just to look at her, whatever it is, you turn around, then she will go back to the underworld. Until you reach the world above, you can't turn around and you can't look at her. You just have to keep walking. So Orpheus says, okay. In one of the renditions that I love, one of the people on the side is like, how can you, like, something. Hades is like, I've given him the rule, like that's all I can do. And then someone is like, but who can give lovers laws, and I just love that line. But anyway, so Orpheus and Eurydice start walking. Orpheus can only assume that Eurydice is following him. In some versions, she doesn't know of the condition, so she keeps calling out to him and he can hear her, but he can't turn around. And she's like, what's going on? Like, why are you leaving me? All of that stuff. There's versions where he can kind of hear her, but not really. There's some versions where he doesn't have any idea, like, what's happening behind him at all. So he, like, starts his walk to the threshold of the world, the real world. And then there's few different versions, like I was saying. In one, just as he reaches the threshold, he hears her slip behind him or call out to him. In others, he suddenly stops being able to hear her after hearing her the whole journey. But whatever version we're talking about, just as he sees the light of the real world and he's at that threshold, in every single version of the story, Orpheus turns. And because he turns just at that threshold, he loses Eurydice and she goes back to the underworld, right? And I love this story. I think it's such a beautiful myth, and I think myths are kind of like patterns distilled. Like that's why they stay with us for such a long time. It's not about the specific, like, we don't know Orpheus was a funny guy, or like Eurydice was the most beautiful person, blah blah, whatever it is, right? It's just, even as flat characters, like that pattern, that turn that he takes at the threshold in that final moment before his test, I think just really stays with us and communicates something to us, right? And my question for all of my friends has been, if you were Orpheus and you were in this situation, do you think you would turn, and why? And I would love to hear people's opinions on this and discuss them at length. I think a lot of it boils, and I want to know the why, right? A lot of people are like, I would be okay thinking that Hades tricked me, but not thinking that I failed a test and that's why I lost my love, which I thought was a really, really interesting answer. But there's many different versions of the answer as well. So I think this question is really important, because for me, it's not really clear like what I would have done. And it's a question that's obviously, like, we're not going to the underworld to like rescue our loved ones and stuff, but it's a question that's actually posed to us over and over again in our lives if we think about it, because it's the question of when you're at a threshold between, and the threshold is of doubt and reality, and you know once you take that step, like, you can never take that step back again, like you're closing a certain chapter. Like, in that moment, do you go by like rules and rationale and like the laws given to lovers, or do you do the thing that your heart tells you to do, which is turn around and potentially risk losing everything, right? But yeah, so that's my question, and I would love to know what people think.